us. It's a beautiful sunny day here in Chicago. As you all know, we all want to send prayers and condolences to our own Dan Johnson in the passing of his father. And I'm going to get out of the way so that our wonderful VP of communications, also our DJ Roz, also Dr. Roz, also praying Roz, also wearing every hat in the pool, Dr. Roz, and we appreciate you. We thank you. But this is your Thursday, and we want to welcome you for the message, guys. I recommend that you have paper and pen so you can write copious notes. Without further ado, Dr. Roz, take it away.
Thank you, Phyllis. Thank you. Good morning to everybody. Listen, I am so grateful every day that we come here because we have the one and only chief sales officer that always puts everything in position for us to win, guys. And we should be eternally grateful for Phyllis Nash and constantly praying for her and her strength and her commitment that she's made to us. Because I realize with the caliber of person that Phyllis is and the background that she has and the experience that she has in the industry, she could just take this thing and just go to the top all by herself. But she carries us all to the place that we're trying to get to. So I'm excited about that. Thank you, Phyllis, for everything that you do. I was thinking this morning, if anybody has ever looked up on the internet or gone through YouTube or listened to an audio book or read positive motivation books, you can find all this stuff that talks about being consistent and be motivated and be focused and be positive and all these things that you should be. But I was thinking, I said, what is it that we really need to do? We need to be all this stuff. But I came up with one word that just jumped out at me. And I think if we do this, it will help us propel ourselves to the level of success that we're trying to. And that word is stay. STAY. The word stay means to continue to stand firm. So all of those other active words that we spoke about, consistent, motivated, focused, positive, and then I added one more that Phyllis just said, prayerful, is what we need to stay. See, it's not enough to be consistent. It's not enough to be motivated. It's not enough to be focused or positive. It's not even enough to be prayerful. What we've got to do, Wakanda Nation, is we've got to stay consistent. We've got to stay motivated. We got to stay focused. We got to stay positive, and we got to stay prayerful. See, one of the most powerful ways to stay, and I need you to get this. I need you to tell yourself, I'm going to stay. I'm going to stay here. I'm going to stay on it. I'm going to stay in it. I'm going to stay. Everything that you need to do, put the word stay in front of it because a whole lot of folks start. A whole lot of folk become something. But somewhere along the way, because they get disgruntled or they get disenchanted or they lose their focus or they lose their motivation, they lose and stop being positive and maybe even stop praying. But you gotta stay, guys. And I'm gonna share with you something because I don't think we get it sometimes because one of the most powerful ways to stay is by being careful of what you say. I'm gonna say that again. One of the most powerful ways to stay is by being careful of what you say. You can stay if you say the right things. And I know we don't know it. I know we don't get it. We've been so programmed in our speech. We've been so religious in our speech that we say things that dilute the power within us. It's like having sweet tea, and the more you add water to it, it dilutes it. Well, that's what we do with the things that come out of our mouth. And sometimes we don't realize what we are saying, and that we're saying, and what we're saying has a direct reflection on what we really believe. A person can tell you what they believe, and then if you keep listening long enough, and I know some of us don't listen, we don't listen to what people say. We're ready to give our input, we're ready to talk real quick. But I dare you to slow down and listen to what people say, and then listen. Maybe you need to record yourself to listen to what you say. Because it's a direct reflection on what we really believe and what we will ultimately achieve. We reframe our world by what we say. How your world looks like right now, how your world is going to look like on November 30th, how your world is going to look like by the end of the year, how your world is going to look like as a Wakanapreneur is based on what you say. What you say can take the limits off or put the limits on. And we say the wrong things. We say, I hope it's gonna be okay. I think I'm gonna do it. I hope even the whole, as Latrice would say, the whole energy is not even coming out of our mouths in a way that will propel us and open up the necessary doors. Ladies and gentlemen, please understand that nobody already sees it in the natural. It's in the unseen world. You're believing for what you don't see right now. So much of our lack of belief is because we're trying to live in a world of what we see. Oh, I don't see nobody signing up. I don't see this. I don't see that. I don't see anybody joining the founders. We're not talking about what you see. It's about what you don't see. And that's what keeps you moving, because if you keep moving, you will see it. When a runner, y'all know I love sports, when a runner is running track and field and he's at the starting gate or starting line, and he's focused and getting ready to take off when the gun shot goes off, he does not see the finish line, but he knows there's a finish line. And he knows if he keeps running and jumping over the hurdles and sprinting and doing whatever he's got to do, eventually he will get to the finish line. But if he was basing his run on seeing the finish line when he starts, he would never start. So you have to always have a not yet in your life. I want everybody this morning to have a not yet in your life. It hasn't happened yet. I need you to look in the mirror and tell yourself it hasn't happened yet. I need to hear that yet. I need you to focus on that yet. Now I'm going to tell you a story. Again, you guys know I love sports, okay? I not only love sports, I love to play sports. So don't think it's just about watching them. I love to play sports. I live in Houston, Texas. I got to give a shout out. Thank you all for your prayers for us winning the World Series. Thank you so much for all that pray for us, except if you live in Philadelphia, of course. But Dusty Baker is the manager of the Houston Astros, and he just won the World Series. They just won the World Series. I need you to understand something about this gentleman. Before he got there, he managed a whole bunch of teams. In 1997, he managed the San Francisco Giants. They lost the division. In 2000, he managed the San Francisco Giants. They lost the division. In 2002, the San Francisco Giants, he lost the World Series. In 2003, he managed who? The Chicago Cubs. And they lost the National League Championship. In 2010, he managed the Cincinnati Reds in 2010 and 12, and they lost the division. In 2013, they lost the wild card game. In 2016 and 17, he managed the Washington Nationals, and they lost the division. And then he goes to Houston, Texas, After Houston has gone through a cheating scandal, then they've gone through a pandemic, and in 2020, the Astros lost the American League Championship. In 2021, they lost, I know Atlanta's in the house, to Atlanta, the World Series. And this year, they just won the World Series. At 73 years old, he was the crowd's favorite. He was beloved because baseball was his empathy and his thoughtfulness, and the one who everyone rooted for. There were signs saying, "Win for Dusty." And here's what Dusty said. He said, "I'm feeling great. These guys are the greatest guys. They always believe." This is from my mom and my dad, my mom that passed in January, my brother and all my boys. He said, breaking off to hug his wife and high five those rushing to congratulate him. He says, "God dang it, it's a wonderful thing." See, he's 73 years old. He had achieved everything else. He's been the only manager in Major League Baseball to lead 5 different teams to the postseason, to win division titles with 5 different clubs. He's the first Black manager to win 2,000 career games, and one of only 2 individuals in Major League Baseball history to produce 1,800 hits as a player and 1,800 wins as a manager. And then they ask him, he said this, he says, "I mean, I got 2,000 wins, and all they talk about is I haven't won the World Series." So he said, "Yeah, it matters. It matters to the people, and it matters to us." And then here's the point I want you to hear that he said. "I just knew it was going to happen sooner or later." He said, "You stick around long enough and you got good teams." I said, "If I win 1, I want to win 2. So we might as well go for 2. We'll see." Before coaching, Baker enjoyed a successful playing career. He won the World Series in 1981 as a player, and with Los Angeles Dodgers, and his 40 years in between titles is the most between any 2 consecutive World Series wins as a player or a manager. And finally, he said this, "I'm so happy that it took this long." What? Because had this happened years ago, maybe I wouldn't even be here. Maybe it was supposed to happen so that I could hopefully influence a few young men's lives and families and a number of people in the country, showing what perseverance and character can do for you. So what was he saying? He was saying if he had won the World Series way back when, he might have quit managing. He might have given up because he had reached the ultimate accomplishment that most people in that industry think about. So look at this. With this World Series title, he becomes not only the oldest manager in the world in the Major League Baseball to win the biggest prize, but older than every other head coach who has won a Super Bowl, an NBA championship, or a Stanley Cup. I'm going to ask you the question. Do you think he had a not yet in his life? Where's your not yet? I have believed forever. When I first got started in ministry, I had a saying: if it doesn't happen today, it'll happen tomorrow. If it doesn't happen tomorrow, it'll happen next week. If it doesn't happen next week, it's going to happen next month. If it doesn't happen next month, it's going to happen next year. But if God says it's going to happen, it's going to happen. I challenge you, Wakana Nation. The table is spread. We have a seat at the table. Don't you let anything inside you create the negative results of your destiny. Because what's going to happen is going to happen, but it's going to happen from within you. You think it's going to happen on the outside of you. It's based on who you come in contact with, or who you sign up, or who becomes your partner. It starts with inside of you. Back to you, Phyllis.
Oh, that is a drop the mic moment. You have inspired me. I know that you never are supposed to quit, but he summed it all up. And I know some of you all are out there saying, when is my time coming? When your time is supposed to come. If you don't quit, that's the message I got this morning. He was 73 years old and he kept going because he knew sooner or later. And guess what? He had a lot of falls and ups and downs, and he still stayed in there. And that's what this journey is about. And now that he got that one, he said, hey, why not another one? So thank you so much, Dr. Roz, for bringing that message, because this is the time that we need to hear. You know, if you keep on sowing that seed, the harvest is sure to come. And so I just want to remind everybody that if you know anybody, this is the time to go on Facebook, to meet people, to pick up the phone and call people that you know that are in the Indianapolis area. And I say area because if they're in any proximity close by, get in the car and drive to hear some life changing information. Myself, Melissa Boston, Beverly Blair, Sylvia Covington, our host, Marcella Rachel, and Jarvis Wright will be there on Saturday. It starts at 10:30 a.m. is the meet and greet, and 11 to 12 is the presentation, guys. So don't miss that. That is, of course, Eastern time. Be there because we're going to be, and it's titled the Indianapolis Takeover. So again, you don't want to miss this event. You don't want to have people that you love, care about, and maybe being strangers get to hear some life-changing information. And with that being said, thank you again, Dr. Roz. That was a phenomenal call. We'll be back here tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock. Go out and have a kind of day. Founders Pack, this says assignment. It will never not be the assignment, not till November 30th. So go get busy, y'all. Bye now.